Oh, okay.
She's got something. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about procedural justice. We were promised procedural justice at the chief's meeting, interview process for the next chief. And I don't think we're there yet. Director Jacqueline McConnell says procedural justice is treating someone as a human. So I believe I had a re-access to the Kathy McMorris Rogers office based on a letter, but I need to go to SPD to clear things. So around the 21st, I walk in the door of the public safety building to get Brad Arliss' phone number so that I can make a call to state that I'm going back in the office and I have a letter making sure everything's cleared. So I ask for a phone number, and the front desk officer, or a woman next to the officer that usually causes the problems, writes down a phone number. And so I walk out the door thinking I have the right number. I call it twice, and it's the wrong number. So I walk back in and I go over to the volunteers, and they're going through their Rolodex to find Brad's number. And then, like always, a certain officer snaps at me. "We gave you the right number, checked it." So I don't believe, the snapping at customers has got to stop. And then giving these one-digit tricks instead of, after it was clarified that I had the wrong number, I was provided the wrong number, then the officer, gives me the one-digit trick, like it was this, it was a 5, not reading it out. So this snapping and trying to mentally unstabilize the customer to, be scared and run off needs to stop. There's another woman one day, she was bawling her eyes out about the police nabbing her dog because there was a conflict of interest with her ex-boyfriend stealing the dog, and she believed it was her dog because she always took care of the dog, and they had been broken up for some time, and she wanted to go to court over it. But there was a conflict of interest. Her boyfriend had friends at the department. Now, she comes in and she complains, what does she do? The same individual snaps at her and makes her cry, and she's bawling her eyes out. And so I was concerned about the situation. So that one snap makes me go after a public records request to do all the public records requests for the day to find this girl to get the complaint. So that takes public records 4 hours because an officer is snapping at the customer, destabilizing the client and making them mentally unstable. And so I think procedural justice to me, and I don't know what the industry made the name, I don't know how they made the name, why they made the name, but what I want is procedural manuals at the public safety building, and the customer walks in, and there's a manual on how to obtain what you need to obtain. That's what I believe we should go to with procedural justice. You have a procedure manual, and an example would be, how do you find a CAD report? And it would say, in order to find the CAD report on the paper, you would have to, if you can't find it, you'd have to write down all the addresses in the area, because maybe the officer wrote down the wrong address. And so that would be in the manual, and an explanation of getting from A to B and what could go wrong in finding something, because you don't know how to ask for a public records request, and they're always fighting down there over the public records clerk doesn't know what the citizen wants, and the citizen is trying to explain it. You need a procedural manual in order to find things and to narrow down the problems and not snapping at everybody. We don't want to go and have a bunch of crocodile behavior and mentally unstabilizing the citizen to the point they're going to end up in, Sacred Heart or Deaconess or something and lose their mind because an officer is snapping. We need to, I will write a complaint to Bart. I'll have it out in tomorrow, and about the situation with the snapping and not writing down the right number and then snapping that they gave me the right number even though they didn't. They wrote down the number wrong, I explained it, and then they did a one-digit trick with the verbal explanation instead of explaining it all the way out from start to finish. So it was wrong on their part twice. And so sometimes officers are wrong.
Okay, so you are going to follow up with,
I'll
okay,
explain on that.
okay.
But
The
I tried
other,
to explain the answer.
right, the other, so there are two pieces. One is to follow up with a complaint about demeanor for the incident
Yeah.
at the front desk. The other is you might sort of do a written suggestion to the OPO, to Bart, about looking at a recommendation to the police department for a policy or a procedure,
Yeah,
which is something
like a
we
manual.
can do.
Yeah.
You might make the recommendation directly to Chief Meidel first, but
Yeah. Thank you for all your time and all your work.
Okay.
And,
thanks, Ellen. Colleen, did you?